Greetings and welcome to the Waters of Healing. I am your host, Baba Lukman, here with my co-host, Ray Wilkerson, the place where serious Black men come to express how we feel. Our goal is that you find your inner king, your inner warrior, that you give up your power to nothing and to no one. But before we begin, let us first give honor and thanks to the Creator for giving us the gift of life, intelligence, and awareness. We seek the Creator's guidance and help. It is important that we develop a healthy relationship with everyone and everything around us to the best of our abilities. And we strive to be one who isn't in conflict with our surroundings. Our communities should always see us as protectors, providers, and mentors. They should never see us as the enemy.
The Waters of Healing is intended to provide a safe, non-judgmental space for Black men to talk about issues specific to us. This is an inclusive space open to all Black males, no matter your religion, class, nor sexual identity. If you identify yourself as a Black man, then you are welcome. Let us begin by reciting the Black man's affirmations.
We believe that kings are made and not born. I am developing the king in me. We believe that warriors are made and not born. I am developing the warrior in me. I believe in myself and my abilities, and there is nothing wrong with me. Another person's opinion of me is not my reality. My masculinity is divinely given. It is not toxic. I give up my power to no one. I realize that I am not perfect, but that is no excuse not to do my best.
I love myself for who I am. I'm in charge of my own happiness and behavior. I don't take advantage of those weaker than myself. I accept 100% responsibility for my own life. My past mistakes are there for me to learn from. They do not define who I am. I am the protector, provider, and guide of my family and my community. I am grateful for every day that I'm given to improve on who I am. I am a Black man created by the one who has no creator, and thus I am worthy of respect and love because my essence is the same essence of the universe. No matter how hard life hits me, I will keep moving forward. Well, hello everyone. Hello everyone. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing today? Can you guys hear us? I wonder if you guys can hear us. If just give me a one if you can hear us out there. This is Ray Wilkerson. This is Ray Wilkerson coming to you tonight. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to us. We do not take it lightly. But let's get some housekeeping out the way. Hey, why don't y'all do us this favor? Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button, right? And also hit the notification so you can know when we're on. Okay, it's going to be a powerful show tonight. Very powerful show tonight. And look, I'm going to get right with it, cuz, okay? Listen, we have a young man, and you remember I'm 62, so everybody young. But we have a young man, Mr. Amari, okay? And I just want to give you a little brief a bio of him, and then I'll let him tell a little bit more about all the stuff we do. But what he is the executive, he is the CEO of Synergetic LLC. And what he does, he produces, he has insurance, he has merchandise, he does life skill, he does life changing, he does all these wellness, he does all these different things, and we like to just bring him on board, and he can maybe share just a few more things because there's so many things that he does, and I don't want to tear up the name and do all that stuff. But listen, there he goes. There goes my brother right there, Amari. Look, just tell him a little bit what I left out. Just tell them a little bit real quick, and we're gonna get with this thing because we got a powerful topic today. A powerful topic today. Go ahead.
Lafayette, eBay, the Odawa tongue, the Yoruba tongue, that's greetings, good cheer unto you, family, good blessings and health unto you all. And thank you so much, Baba, for having me on, Baba Ray for having me on. And as Baba said, I'm a serial entrepreneur. I'm not going to go on all night long because, as he said, I got numerous business ventures. My queen and I were real estate investors as well. My queen also, she's a freight broker. She deals with freight brokering and transportation. And we have a clothing line store on numerous platforms. It's African men's, women's clothing, also urban fashion as well, health and beauty products for your needs. And so the main thing is I'm a servant to the community. I'm a retired Marine. I served for a total of 20 years. I'm also a mentor. I'm a motivational speaker as well. I'm a former thug. My life has definitely been transformed by African spirituality. I want to definitely put that out there. I'm also a former bishop, so from religion to spirituality, that's my transition. No disrespect to anybody out there. I'm saying that's what just worked for me. So that's where I'm at today, man. I'm a grandfather. I'm a father, and that's it.
You look too young to be a grandfather,
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. I'm 44. I'll be 45. So you're right. I am still young.
Yes, sir. So look, our topic for today, we're going to talk about angry black men, and it's this narrative that goes in America that black men are angry. Is that a true narrative? I know for myself, there's a lot of things that I'm angry about. A lot of things personally when I'm angry about myself. A lot of issues I'm angry. Now we want to just jump on this topic, right? And what, from your perspective and from your style and your life, is that how do you look at? Are you an angry black man, or is that just a narrative? Are they trying to put us in this boat? Give us your perspective on this thing.
Well, we all know that definitely, we are angry periodically. Of course, we all know it's from systemic racism. It's also from the hate crimes. Of course, what has transpired to our people as it relates to slavery. And also, the continuous injustices, the redlining, the misappropriation of funds, the injustices of hate crimes where individuals are getting off. Our brothers, they serve their time. When they get out, they're still serving time. They're trying to better their lives. They have a federal offense on them. People look at them and want to give them a job, but then we look at them telling them to stay away from the streets, and then we have no healthy alternatives as it relates to how they can build wealth. So I would say absolutely. Yes, absolutely. And then when the African man stands up and he fights against social injustices, then his own people even become an enemy. You know what I'm saying? So he has an enemy on the outside, an enemy on the inside. So it's like the African man is definitely frustrated. Definitely frustrated, no doubt about it. And rightfully so, in my humble opinion. I believe that we also, because I'm a spiritual man, I believe that we need anger management, and we also need conflict resolution. Okay, that's imperative. We need psychological evaluation to help us through the traumatic experiences that we have experienced that has been passed down to us from our ancestors and from what we're experiencing today. That's what I feel.
So from your perspective, you said we have a right, but now tie this in with there's a lot of anger going on. Do you believe there's a lot of anger, or how can I say this, between African women, black men in America? Is there some type of, I'm listening to this big thing going around here that black women and black men can get together, angry black men and all that stuff. What is your take on us and our queens? And do we have a lot of anger on as men against some of our queens in America through, like you say, through some of the things that has been coming our way.
Absolutely, Baba. Yes, I do. And again, a lot of us, we try to get away from slavery, but that's where it stems from, because we were separated. And us being separated, and I'm talking about mentally as well, but us being separated during slavery, being put on various plantations, it disrupted the African culture because they cut us off from our culture. And then they gave us theirs, right? And so now, you also have lyrical content and gangster rap that is entering to the ear gate of our people, and that is shaping our thought process. And so you have all of this going on where there's a disrespect of our women, calling them female dogs, calling them whores, teaching not being faithful, and just do what you do. You understand? And so this gets into our subconscious. This shapes, our thinking. The gangster life is glorified. It's a weapon of mass destruction, gangster rap. So I feel like, a lot of our men, unfortunately, have been raised by that way of life. And so they view women in that light because of what they've been taught by the lyrical content. And so it shapes their thoughts, and they, of course, you live the way you think. And so their mindset is influenced by that. And so, they become practitioners of what they listen to.
So let me ask you this question, and I'm going when my cousin get back on. But let me ask you this question: what would you say is the number one problem in your perspective, or the three major problems as Black men that we need to solve? Just from your perspective.
Okay. Well, first and foremost, what I'm saying, it's really the mindset, man. Mindset, and we have to get back to our culture. That's going to always be my answer. We have to be restored back to our traditional greatness, and the only way the African man can function in his right mind is with an African mind, so that's what I will continue to stand on. What I'm saying? It's really the miseducation, because when you deal with appropriately educating us, and I'm talking about spiritually and educating us economically to where we understand that we don't have to sell drugs, we don't have to resort to criminal activity in order for us to make a living. Once we put those morals into us and that foundation in our lives, that'll restore us, man. And I honestly feel like that's really what our problem is. It's our mindset. That's the holistic problem. Because again, you live the way you think.
So what can we do about that?
Well, again, start teaching spiritual concepts, going back to our roots. And me, myself personally, no disrespect to anybody in America, okay, but my African spirituality, Ifa, that I practice, okay, I learned from the motherland. I learned from people organically from the motherland who was raised, because unfortunately, a lot of things that we get over here, it gets tainted. Unfortunately, we try to Americanize our African spirituality, okay? And we water it down, and we try to put our emotions and all these things inside of it. And then we try to stamp it as, African spirituality. No, that's not the way it works. What I'm saying? We have to go back to the source. So we got to learn from our own about ourselves. We need to learn from us, Kuji Chagalia. We need to learn from us, about us, by us, and go to the root of our spiritual system. And that's just my research. That's just in my studies, my years, of following this spiritual path. That's what I feel like the answer really is, is to go back to the root of it and get the emotion and the feeling out of the way. Heal from the things that we have experienced traumatically, okay? And then we'll be able to function better once we get over the mental trauma that we have suffered.
Go ahead, cuz.
No, I'm sorry. I just wanted to know if y'all could hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you. We can't see you now, but we can hear you.
All right. So
So,
look, Amari, one of the things I was listening to while I was dealing with my technical issues, my audio issues, is I like the part that you focused on the misinformation that we've been given as boys to men. And Ray and I, since we've been doing these episodes, we try to really draw from our own personal experiences. And so when we started talking about anger, we drew from our own personal experiences. And for example, I related the last episode that I started getting angry when I started to feel abandoned by those who I felt was supposed to protect and nurture and basically provide that kind of nurturing environment for me. And I gave the example of when I was in grade school and how my first disappointment came from other black men. And so, because I was raised by a single mother, and because I had little to almost no contact with my father at that time, I started to view other black men with suspicion. So, as I see today, with a lot of young men, that I see today, there appears to be the same thing. There appears to be this hostility, this mistrust of other black men, especially of older black men. And so, I like that you focused on the misinformation. I also like that you also gave as a solution, because that's what we're about here: solutions, not just examining the problems. The fact
Yes.
that that African mindset, and I'm so glad that you elaborated on that. Um, Give us some examples of, even in where we at now in the belly of this beast, of how we can from this level where we are, because of course our community has been in better shape in previous times, but we have to deal with our reality.
Yes.
How do we start from scratch, from day one, on to reach these young men, healing ourselves, and to start to rebuild that which was destroyed or taken from us?
I love that question. I think about Kaumba. I think about, you know, um, making our community more beautiful than it was before, we inherited it. That's what comes to my mind. And the only way that we can do it is really just understanding. First and foremost, understanding what the problem is and understanding how long this problem has existed, and just being realistic. I love what you said, Bob, about being realistic. And the reality is, it's not going to change overnight. These mindsets have been embedded in us for centuries. And it's going to take some time for us to root these mentalities out of us. I can relate to these young people, especially, the ones who've been out in the streets, because I was out in the streets. So I get it. You're really not thinking about that. You're heartless to your own people. You're tearing up your community, and we're under the influence. We're under the influence of greed, right? We're under the influence of selfishness. We have a reckless attitude about things. And we have to get to the root of it. Like, why are they so angry? And us as adults, we got to listen to them. Because one thing I know about young people is that we don't listen to them. We don't give them an opportunity to talk. We don't allow them to express themselves. And we have to afford them that opportunity, to express their disgruntledness of about what they have going on, and understanding too that we're in modern day times. It's not like, I'm only 44. It's not like when I was younger. These times are totally different. These young people are in an information age, so a lot of them are more intelligent than what we give them credit for too. So we have to allow them, because they understand their peers. We have to allow them to have input in building the nation. We got to stop pushing them in the corner and telling them they don't know nothing, to be quiet, and boy, you don't know anything. And nah, that's not it. That's not it. I know I have a 22-year-old son. That's not it. I allow my son to express himself. I allow him to talk to me, and tell me the way he feels respectfully. And that's how we're able to come to solve the problems, because I allow him to decompress, because it's therapeutic when they're able to talk, you know. And I know I had to go see a therapist. I don't have no problem with admitting this. And that's the reason why I had to go, because whenever I express myself, oh, I'm being disrespectful, I need to be quiet. And you know what I'm saying? So inside of me, I was like an erupting volcano, because nobody won't let me talk.
Right. Right.
So we have to let them express themselves.
And you know something about therapy, because we talk about that all the time. We're a very we have been very uniquely, I should say, traumatized by our own experiences, not just historically, but even in our present day and time. The amount of trauma that Black people suffer, both Black men and women. But when we talk about Black men, we talk about not only the trauma that we suffered at the hands of white supremacy and their agents, we also suffer from the, for lack of a better term, the bad press that Black men have received over the course of our sojourn over here in the diaspora and on the continent. And Amari, you're a little young, so you probably don't remember this time, but Ray and I definitely know and remember the time when, especially during the 90s, when they used to have all these talk shows on, and how they exploited this this manufactured division between Black men and Black women. And so I remember looking at a lot of these talk shows, and they were just not only exploiting that, but Black men were really given bad press that wind up seeping into the mainstream and having people believe these negative things about us, even when the facts differed from what was being said about us. So my point being is, one of the misinformations that I received coming up is that we're not allowed to express emotions. And on the Word of Healing, we try to be as vulnerable as we can. I know I do. Ray and I have shared some very intimate details about our own experiences in our own lives. And, you know, sometimes people get on here and they ridicule us for it. But that's one of the things that I've seen as a Black man growing up, is this reluctance to become vulnerable. And I'm glad that you brought up the therapy part about it, because there, you know, we talk about the mental health issues that's in our community and the stigma that's attached to that. And so how do we encourage how do we change the tide of that, Amari, is what I'm asking. Because you're right, it's not going to change overnight. We've been fighting an uphill battle with this negative press that we've been getting. And so when we start to talk about mental health issues, and how do we start to change and turn the tides on these things?
We have to help our men to understand that asking for help is not a weakness. Most of us are taught that when we ask for help, it's a form of being a wimp. And it's perfectly fine. You know, when something is too heavy, we ask for help, right? So when something is too heavy for us mentally, why can't we ask for help? And so we got to understand that it's okay to seek out counsel. And the truth of the matter is, it's okay for us to be able to weep. That is also therapeutic. The pain that we express, a lot of us as men, we hold in that pain. And I'm not saying, go walk around slobbing and snotting all over the place. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, hey, man, it's okay for you to get with a brother that you trust, or again, get with a psychiatrist in the community, and let it out, man. Let it out, because a lot of us, it's like a pipe with pressure in it. It's going to bust, and that's the reason why a lot of us are so angry, because we're not really expressing our pain. We're not really expressing our true hurt. We're not expressing the abandonment. And I can relate. Listen, first of all, my father abandoned me at the age of 5 and told me he didn't want to see me no more. Right? Now, one would think that, I would be broken down mentally for the rest of my life and things of this nature. I was just very disappointed. I was very disappointed. You know what I mean? And I was very upset because he abandoned us. You know what I'm saying? You know, so a lot of us, we don't know how to manage our anger, and we become fighters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's the way we vent. Somebody look at you wrong, somebody step on your sneakers. I always tell people it's more to it than that.
Right.
It's deeper. Something deeper. Something is deeper there than that. You know, who just go around want to punch everybody in the face because you know you step on my sneaker? Come on, man. It's something deeper than that. It's something there. You know, inside. You know, a brother got to always try to prove how much of a man he is. It's a lot of ego tripping with us. Why? Because we oh man, you gonna let him talk to you like that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you's a sucker. You know what I'm saying? And so we fuel this, we fuel this immaturity. We fuel this, you know, this little boy mindset. And we grow up with this little boy mindset of always beating our chest, trying to King Kong everybody. You know, and so we got to shift our thinking, and what's going to happen is they have to start at home, because this is a lot of things that we're taught at home as men. You know, unfortunately, our fathers teach us these things, our uncles, and then it becomes something your homeboys in the hood. You know what I'm saying? You know, you learn these things, and then you grow up thinking, I got to always prove myself. You know, and so we got to shift the narrative. And so it can paint the right picture about what a true man really looks like.
So let me jump in real quick, and I'll chime back to the youth, and when you talk about mental illness, because those of you who don't know, I've been dealing with mental illness for, like, not me personally, and what I do, I house clients with mental illness for about the last 30 something years. And what they don't teach, especially when I look at some of the houses, our shared living program of people with mental illness, 80% of our clients are young black men or older black men. But what I'm trying to say is, I've never seen so many younger people that they have now been diagnosed with so many disorders. But it's one disorder that they never teach you about, or they never tell you about. And this is really applying to a lot of our young black men. It's called social mental illness. Social mental illness, and they never teach this thing. And what is social mental illness? Social mental illness deals with your cognitive thinking. Meaning, let me give you an example. Meaning, right and wrong. It's right to pick up a gun and shoot somebody. It's wrong to back down and go and live another day. So when you start talking about social mental illness, and you talk about our cognitive thinking, the way we process stuff, the way the young people process stuff, and it's undiagnosed, so they process it in a different manner. That can be cultural, that can be environmental, but it's opposite to the norm. So that's one of the things that we really have to start understanding when we look at our young folks. When we start talking about mental illness, when we start talking about, you talk about bipolar, schizophrenic, all those things we understand. We put on medication and things like that. But the most damaging effect for us, young black men and black people, black men in general, is social mental illness, and deals with our cognitive behavior or our cognitive thinking that causes our cognitive behavior. And you're saying, well, there's something wrong. We're killing each other. Well, we're killing each other because we're undiagnosed, and we're not dealing with our cognitive thinking that is all out of whack. And that's not making an excuse. That's reality. Right. I'm just saying that's reality, and we're not teaching our young people. They're not teaching us. Even when you get therapy, they're not teaching you about that. They're not teaching about our cognitive thinking and our cognitive behavior, because I think it causes our behavior. But let me share something with you real quick.
That's right.
Because we always say you got to change your thinking, right, to change your behavior. Everybody say that. You know, raise your hand. We got to change our thinking to change our behavior. But here, I'm going to tell you something. That's not always true. Because the lower part of your brain is called the limbic. The limbic part of your brain doesn't think. It just responds. So in cases where I don't have to think about putting on my pants, I don't have to think about clicking a light, I don't have to think about picking up a gun and shooting somebody. So it's almost impossible for me to change my thinking, to change my behavior when that thing that I'm doing, I don't think, because it's coming from the limbic part of my brain. We have to start changing our behavior before we can change the way we think. And
Yeah.
that's what we not understand. Go ahead, cuz.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to add on to that and then let Amari get in here. Is that, one of the things that I advocate for, and Amari, I wanted to know if you agree with this, is that I advocate for Black men to seek therapy from professional Black males who are in that field. Um, this is just my own personal belief, is that I don't think that your European psychiatrists or their methods can serve us. One of the things that you mentioned earlier about not only the spiritual aspect of it, the African spirituality, pardon me, the African spirituality, but we have our own ways of dealing with mental issues in our community that comes from the continent. And so I just wanted to get your opinion on that, Amari. Do we have to? Is it in our best interest to seek those solutions from our own culture, because you had mentioned that earlier, as opposed to this European derived psychotherapy that I don't think would really work for us.
I agree, as long as that person is one of spiritual mindedness. I believe that's where it really matters, because as we all know, we have individuals out there that look like us, like Tim Scott. You understand?
Brother Scott.
So, that means nothing because they look like us. It's about them having an African mind.
Right.
So I would say look for somebody who is an African spiritualist, in the community, the Babalawo, go to your Babalawo, go to your Eli Lodi, if those of Vundun, go to your priest, your priestess, go to them, and seek them out for counsel, and I believe that you'll get what you need, and that's what I personally feel, because a lot of things that we're dealing with, and some people may call it spookism if they want to, but I know I dealt, with these negative energy elementals. Okay. And some people are dealing with things that are deeper, and it may spook some people out because they never experienced it, but I have, you see, and I know this for a fact that some people are dealing with things that are beyond medical. It's spiritual, it's supernatural, and that's what a lot of our problem is too. We don't like to deal with that. We want to call everything spookism because we don't understand it. You understand? But in our African spirituality, that's why I say it's important to deal with people who not just going through the motions, even with African spirituality, because some of them are not tapped in. Some of them, they go through the motions and go to the shrines, right? And go to the temples, but they really haven't tapped in. You understand? And those who really tap into our true spirituality, the ones who've been in this work for some time, they've dealt with these spiritual things, you see? And so that's what we got to deal with too. See, we got to stop running away from that. A lot of people scared. Why? Because we've been, we've been cut off from that. Whereas our ancestors was used to seeing those type of things happen, those manifestations of these things in people. Okay, beyond, the natural, the supernatural in people, working through them. That's not just some church stuff. And then, that's how I know it's all about exposure. See, I'm glad I was exposed to those things. So I know. So yeah, we got to get into that, man. It's deep. Some people are really dealing with generational curses, and people think again, oh, that's just Christianity. No, it's not. No, it's not. That thing is real, man. Some people get, a spell put on their family, and it becomes a generational thing, and they need to be able to deal with that thing. So some things medicine can't even fix.
And you know what? It's something. If you look, I understand where you're coming from. I had a teacher of mine who used to say that if we can't see it, taste it, touch it, hear it, or smell it, we don't know what to do with it. But there are people out there that do. And one of the things is about the generational curses. if you have a problem with that term, then I always say, think of this. Think about how dysfunction is passed down. So if you have misinformation and you have dysfunction and you're out of your natural state, imagine passing that down generation by generation. If you can't get into the whole general curses thing, it's still the same effect, if you ask me. So,
Absolutely.
but anyway, there's another. I want to segue into this other topic because there also appears, you hear these terms like hyper masculinity, toxic masculinity. You hear all of these things, and there is sort of, and again, just relating from my own experiences, by not having an active father in the home, by not coming from a family where there's not a lot of males, I had to basically piece together, if you know what I mean, what a man should be. Sometimes it was piecing it from the wrong examples, but a lot of our young men go through that and go through this where they like, well, I have nobody around to teach me, so now I'm like picking from here and picking from there, and trying to decide that, well, this is what a man is supposed to be. So I want you, Amari, I would like for you to address that. And I also want to bring this other topic in, which I think as black men we don't deal with enough, is our relationship to other black men who aren't hetero, homosexual black men, black trans men, and I live in D.C. and D.C. is one of the worst places for black trans women. Wow. And so, I mean, with the murder rate and all, I think Baltimore and a few others, and a lot of that expressed by by a lot of our misunderstanding of what masculinity is. And so, could you just help me out with that a little bit?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head, Baba. That's why I feel like our again, my answer is always going to be African culture. You know what I'm saying? We have our Shaka Zulus. We have our Thomas Sankaras, we have our Duty Boltmans, and we have Marcus Garvey, we have Malcolm X, Elijah Muhammad. You know what I'm saying? So for me personally, we got plenty of examples. I tell you, it blows my mind how people talk about where's the men that when we started all these movements.
Right.
You understand? We was the ones who started the fruit of Islam, and things of this nature. So what are you talking about? It's the men who has been emasculated, by these false teachings as it relates to men don't love. See, that's our problem. Our problem is the lack thereof. We're taught that love is a weakness, and that's the reason why we are weak, because we don't love. You understand? You know what I'm saying? So love is the answer. And what does that look like? I'm very fortunate to have had a grandfather that taught me what that looks like. So I know the answer is being that example. My son is able to say, Dad, I love you. Why? He knows his father is a veteran, but he knows his father is a warrior too. I put my hands on somebody too if I need to, to defend myself and my family. So I showed my son that love is not a weakness. Love is a strength, because love is what inspires us to take care of our child or our children. Love is what inspires us to protect our women. Love is what inspires us to lay down our life for our families. Love is actually what inspires us to fight. It really shouldn't be hate. Now, I know some people talk about hate and everything else like that. I get it. You understand? What I think about is this right here. I love my family, so I fight. When I went to combat, when I was in the Marine Corps, when I went overseas, I didn't hate those people. I had to shoot back because I had to defend my life. They're the ones with the problem, not me. But see, that's another problem we have. You know what I'm saying? These people are brainwashed. The racist is brainwashed. You understand? And so the racist provides these platforms for the African man to continue to diminish himself. They fund these type of things. And again, I'm always going to go back to what we see on the TV. You know what I'm saying? Now they're, like you talked about, Baba, making the homosexual lifestyle, something that people will start accepting, and it's seeping to our subconscious. It's even on the American Gods. It's on there too. This homosexual interaction, they're trying to normalize it. You know what I'm saying? But to me, there's nothing normal about a man wanting to be intimate with another man. To me, there's nothing normal about that. It's abnormal. That's the reason why we have the sexual organs we have. It's so we can reproduce. So there's nothing natural about it. In fact, you know, it hurts, you know, the nation. Why? Because now you can't reproduce. Now the bloodline can't continue. And then how can you teach a man to be a man when you acting like a female?
Well, I mean, and I respect your opinion. I'm going to push back on you on that one, though. We all are entitled to our beliefs, but after being, you know, after I have family members who are homosexual, and I have family members who are black males who are homosexual, and I've witnessed personally, you know, and I've witnessed that. For me, I don't believe that is something that is chosen. I mean, that's just my personal opinion, and I believe that that, you know, that I think that understanding, and not to go against anybody's personal beliefs, but I believe personally that as a community we shouldn't, I should say, we shouldn't leave out black men because of their sexuality and those type of things. But that's just my personal opinion. So, but you know, I respect your opinion, but that's my personal opinion.
No, I actually agree with you. You know what I'm saying? You know, I was just responding to the question. You know, so that was just, you know, me responding to the question. But you're absolutely right, because I have cousins that are female that are homosexual, and I love them just the same. You know what I mean? You know, as I said, I say, how can they teach a man how to be a man when they acting like a woman? These are the ones that I'm talking about. You can't teach me how to be a man when you're acting like a female or you're dressing like a female. You know what I'm saying? But you're a man. So you understand? So how can you raise my son to be, how can you raise these other young men to be men when you're wrestling with your orientation? That's all I'm saying. You know, it's like, it's no disrespect to them out there. They're African. They deserve, you know what I'm saying, to be treated human just like everybody else. I don't believe they should be ill treated. You know, unfortunately, in some countries, they'll get killed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm just keeping it real. In some countries over in the motherland, they'll get killed, you know, for being that way. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't believe in going to that extremity, you know what I'm saying, of harming a person because of their sexual orientation. They're my brother, and I will always love them, man. That's my family, period. You know what I'm saying? But now we're talking about training now. We're talking about training men to be men. We're talking about training them to be men. You know what I mean? And that's all I'm trying to say. If you're going to train me how to be a man, then you certainly can't be acting effeminate and trying to teach me how. I just can't see how that's going to work out. You know what I'm saying? With a twist on your wrist and your hip and the switch. I don't know how that's going to work.
Right. Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying, but I feel like it's that attitude. You know, like I said, no disrespect to you, Amari, but I think it's that attitude which is the reason why so many of our homosexual and trans brothers and sisters are receiving the violence that they're having, because of I believe that it's the intolerance. And like I said, you know, on this show we say from the beginning that if you're a black male and you're no matter what your orientation is or how you identify yourself, that you're welcome in this space.
Oh, so, yeah,
you know, and so
absolutely.
Right. So that I just want to make that clear that I, as the host of this show, don't support those views, you know, but I respect you, but I don't support those views. But
well, I get it. I mean, hopefully what I'm saying is not being misunderstood. Like, again, like I said, you know, for myself, I will never beat them up. You understand? But again, I'm responding to the question.
Right. I understand.
I will never beat them up for what they're doing. You see what I mean? Because let the truth be told, I don't really feel like we all really fully understand everything about them in that aspect. You know what I'm saying? Because some of them never been molested. This I know. I listen to them. I listen to them speak. You know what I'm saying? I believe in listening to them before I make a comment. You know what I'm saying? And I know some of them, they never been, you know, violated. They've been that way since they've been a child. They didn't know why, and they were that way and stuff like that. I listen to them. You know, and then again, I have a respect for them. You know, I'm always going to respect another human being. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to being a man who raising up a nation, That's just the bottom line. That's just my stance. You can fight with us, no doubt about it. You know what I'm saying? If you're willing to put your hands up and fight, you willing to put your life on the line for the people, then you do that. You know what I'm saying? But now what do you do? And we got it now. Remember we said in a minute and earlier, we got to keep it real, right? So let's keep it real. How do you deal with a man who conducts himself that way and want to hang with the women instead of being out there on the front line?
Well, we're gonna move off of this topic, but we agree to disagree.
You know, I'm just saying, you know, like I was in the military, you know what I'm saying, and some of them were that, and some of them were fighters. You understand? But it's just the ones, like I said before, you know, like I said, feel, you know, conduct themselves in an effeminate way, a feminine way. You know what I'm saying? Like fully that way, wearing the makeup, wearing the skirts, and everything else like that. You know, just hey. I got love for you, you know what I'm saying? But you can't teach these warriors over here that I'm training in this organization how to be a man conducting yourself like that. You know, there's no disrespect to them.
This is what we're going to do. And as much as I appreciate the guests and as much as I appreciate this, we're going to terminate this because I don't tolerate that type of homophobia on this platform. So, and I appreciate you. Thank you, Amari, for coming through. But we're going to close out on this. And like I said, I don't tolerate homophobia or that type of stuff on the show. But I do respect you, Amari. I respect the guests. I respect what you're doing. But this is not.
Let me say this before you do that. Out of all due respect, you know what I'm saying? Because I want you to understand something. I have a cousin that's like that. Okay, and I don't treat my cousin any type of way. Maybe what I'm saying is being misunderstood. You know what I'm saying? He dresses like a man, but he's that way. And I don't treat him any different than I treat anybody else. I don't do that. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, like I said, I'm just talking about raising a nation, warriors, you know, what we need to do as men and how we need, because that's what the question was. Conducting ourselves like men. So it's not just limited to us acting like little boys, you know what I'm saying, wanting to fight and not knowing how to handle our business as men without resorting to violence. It don't just stop there. So if we're going to talk about it, we need to talk about it in its totality because that exists in our community.
It does. But I can say this, that I know quite a few homosexual men who I think handle themselves better than so-called straight cis male. And, you know, and I would be glad to have them in the battlefield with me. I've seen them at work. I know them.
That's right.
And
that's right.
Know, so, but anyway, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we're going to close out the show. I guess we're going to take
Sorry.
All right, we are back. Okay, we are back with my co-host Ray Wilkerson and our guest Amari. I was just reminded, Amari, and you know, and I think that this bears mentioning that the Stonewall Rebellion was started by a trans woman who threw a brick at the police, fought all the way to jail. There were women who led men in battle in Africa, as we know, in Haiti and other places. So I kind of think that maybe we need to broaden the way that we view these certain examples. But like I said, again, I think that there's plenty of examples of homosexual men and women, trans men and women who have been on the front lines and who are about it just like that. And so I feel that that needs to be said. So anyway, we got like 5 minutes left, so I'm going to turn it over
I
to
agree
Ray.
with you. I respect that. I respect that, Yah Santi. Why? You know what I'm saying? Definitely. You know, first and foremost, I understand that. You know, I understand that. And I'm not going to, you know what I'm saying, knock another person's opinion. You know what I mean? Again, I was in the military. I fought for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? I went to combat more than one time. You know, and I know every guy in the uniform wasn't that. It's not hard to detect some of them. You know what I'm saying? I respected them and we fought alongside of each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what it was. You know what I mean? So again, I respect them. You know what I'm saying? So if I said anything that offended them, then I would apologize, you know, for that, because even though I didn't intend to, that's not the way I move. You know what I mean? We was talking about nation building and raising men. So that's just the approach I come from. The Fruit of Islam have women that they train in martial arts. I trained my wife in martial arts, mixed martial arts. So just in case something pop off, she better defend herself. I get it. I get it. You know what I mean? But nevertheless, though, you know, that's why I stand there with that. You know what I mean? I don't feel like women should just be in there cooking chicken. You know, our history tells us that Angela Davis was one of the Black Panthers. Asheta Shakur was one of the Black Panthers. You know what I'm saying? Coretta Scott King fought alongside of Dr. Martin Luther King. Betty Shabazz did the same thing with the Honorable Malik El Shabazz. You know, Malcolm X, as we all know it, El Haj Malik El Shabazz. So I respect that.
I like to include that list, Baird Rustin and James Baldwin also, and Lorraine Hansberry.
There you go. There you go.
So, you know,
that's right.
So we have a rich history of that. So anyway, we got the five like couple minutes left. So I've hogged it up. So I got to give it back to my co-host.
So look, some, you know, here on What is the Healing, there's challenging conversations. Everybody's views are different.
But this is what this platform is about. Yeah. We have to, you know, I mean, look, everybody's opinion is not going to always, you know, be acceptable to everybody. But we do try to you know, respect everybody's opinion, and we also try to, again, like you said, Ray, have those challenging conversations, and you know, and we really have to deal with the homophobia, I think, that exists within our community, and the transphobia also.
Mm-hmm. So the good thing, I was reading some of the comments. You have some pros and cons. So this is just something that we have to continue to open our eyes and solve some solutions in our African American community. One of the things that I know that one of the things that I always know that the opposition always tries to make us do is alienate us from each other. And one of the things I will always say, it doesn't matter if you look like me, then we will do. Let me just be. If we place, like Malcolm said, and I'm going to expand it. If we place our religion on the side, if we place our sexual identity on the shelf, place our religion, the things that really cause the conflict that keep us from being unified, then I believe we can focus on what we really need to do, because we need everybody. I was sharing with my cousin real quick. We got 3 minutes about the spook that sat by the door. We have to be strategically set in all areas of all different types of communities. We have to be able to infiltrate government. We have to infiltrate whatever means that is coming up against us. We need to use everybody who is in the African American culture to be used to infiltrate certain things, and we use what we have, and that's what I'm trying to say. We have to use what we have, no matter what you do, no matter how it is, whatever your orientation is. We all are valuable and can be used in the struggle.
And also, let me add to that is that white supremacy doesn't discriminate. So, I mean, we know that when the cops are beating up on you or they're harassing you or when white supremacy come at you, they're not checking for your religion or your sexuality. So, you know, they just see a black skin and they just go off on that. But anyway, in this last minute, Amari, how can people get in contact with your organization and get in contact with you?
They can find us on EY Pele Movement. I made a comment out there too. You should be able to see it, but it's spelled IWA space PELE space movement. Just like it's normally spelled, movement. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Facebook, and you can find us on YouTube. So that's who we are.
Well, I thank you, Mari, for coming on today, and thank you for sharing with us, man. You know, this aspect of community building, what we're trying to do. I also would like to tell our audience that that Ray and I are putting together a Father's Day podcast just for our members. So members only. We're having a special Father's Day podcast. I think Father's Day is on the 19th or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll keep you informed of that. Please share this stream, like,
20th.
subscribe. Oh, the 20th. Okay. Like and subscribe, and hey, look, and join us, Ray and I, for Waters of Healing, our special Father's Day broadcast for members only. And we thank our guests for coming today. I am Baba Lukman, along with Ray Wilkerson, and you are watching the Waters of Healing. So check us out later.